Tonight we're making beer and cheese soup. The beer, Cascadian Dark. It's going to add sausage, some garlic and beer sausage. This was actually made with the Cascadian Dark as well, so it's going to add a little contrast of flavor, adding flavor. Our ingredients. We're going to start by adding some oil to the pan. Let that warm up. Once that's warmed up, we're going to add some carrots, some celery, and some onion and garlic. We're looking at about 1 medium onion, about 2 carrots, and then 1 rib of celery, and roughly about 3 cloves of garlic because we really like garlic. We're also going to make a roux based on, once these all heat up, we got about a 1/3 cup of flour here. It's going to add to it. It's going to be the thickener for the soup. So we add our veggies. Now, if you notice, for the most part, those veggies that I threw in aren't as important the order I threw them in, but the garlic is. If I throw the garlic in first, it's actually going to burn and get bitter. So I throw it in once the others have started cooking a little bit to absorb some of the heat from the pan, so I don't burn the garlic right when I throw it in. Just a safety thing. One of those things that just adds a better flavor to your whole cooking process right there. So we're going to cook these, and these will go until they're nice and soft. The onions will look a little translucent, and that's when we'll add the flour for the roux. Okay, as you can see right here, the veggies are starting to look a little bit cooked. We're about ready to add the roux, or not add the roux. We're making the roux. We're adding the flour. We're going to cook that up a little bit to make the roux. Get it all worked in real good. Make sure it's actually spreading around. Yeah. That flour really absorbed all the liquid in that pan. Let that go for a second. Yeah. You don't want it to get too brown. You don't want it to get little flecks. So if you see little flecks of black, it means that the roux is burned. So you want to move it every once in a while. Don't do your heat too hot. You want to be able to control this. Give it a second to cook. Part of the process, of course, is the smell. You got to learn your smells when you're cooking, and you're looking for, right now I'm getting a lot of the fresh vegetables. I'm looking for the smell of the cooked flour in there. Well, that'll tell me when it's time to actually start adding the liquids. Okay, from here we're going to deglaze with the beer. It's about 12 ounces of beer. Put that in, mixing it around. Make sure there's nothing sticking at the bottom. Now after this, our next to add in is about 3 cups of chicken stock. If you really wanted to, you could use beef stock. Chicken stock is a nice neutral flavor though, lets all the other flavors come out. And this will end up being a very dark soup, just because of the darkness of the Cascadian IPA in there. You probably can't see this on the camera, but there's really no lumps in there. I do have a whisk just in case I need to break up lumps, but because of the way I did the roux, there's a lot less chance of actually getting lumps in the soup. It'll actually be nice and smooth. The vegetables actually help break up those lumps so it doesn't lump up like you would see on a lot of other soups. It's easier just to pour straight in. Also adding a couple bay leaves. And I will eventually add some salt and pepper to taste, just to make sure it's the flavor, get the flavors out of it I want. But now, at this point, we're going to let this go, let it thicken up a bit, and then we'll add the milk to it to finish it out and let that warm up. And we'll finish it off adding the sausage and the cheese. Alright, we are now pretty much at a boil. Now we're going to slowly work in the milk and let that heat through a little bit. We don't want it to go too long, so we don't want to make cheese. And with the beer already in there, that acid will separate the curds from the whey, and we'll end up making the cheese in there. Would not be anything that we want right now. We're going to let this heat up a little bit more, get nice and warm. And then we're going to add some cheese. Once your milk is heated through, you're going to pull it off the heat. That's when you'll start adding the cheese. Roughly about 2 cups. Start working it in. Let it melt. Which it will do. Turn that off. The cheese also helps to thicken it. You don't want. It's one of the reasons why you don't use a lot of thickener at the beginning. You can use a little bit more if you want a little bit thicker soup, but the cheese will also help thicken. One of those things. Throw that in there. Yeah. Ah. Work that in. And you can see there's definitely a thickening happening in here. Just from the cheese, it's a little bit thicker than it was before. Soupy, nice creamy soup. While we're working this in, we're actually going to add in the sausage now too. It's about a pound of sausage, give or take. Yeah. Now we check. Definitely need some salt and pepper. Scrape your sides. And there you have. Oh yeah, beer and cheese soup. Pretty simple. Nice crusty bread and you got a meal.